So what we're going to do based on feedback from last year is I will go in and we will actually walk through an annual report. And so we've included in the resource pages the link to authenticated applications, and that's where you get into the entire LCP system. And because we're updating the LCP annual report for the 2021 school year, I will be going into last year's application. So you'll get into your authenticated applications. Everybody has a slightly different list based on what access you need. We'll go into the LCP system. Since we're going to the annual report, I'll click on this. But before I click, I just want to show you as you scroll over these, it just kind of gives you a general information about which each part of the system is. And you'll also see like we have the most recent due dates. Since the new annual report is not out yet, we still have last year's due date. But once we update with this year's LCP annual report, that due date will change to July 15th, 2021. And as you go through the rest, you can. We also get questions since we don't provide the paraprofessional certifications. If you have a paraprofessional who has passed one of the 3 tests or is qualified based on their degree, you can also print out this professional certificate for a paraprofessional and provide that to them for completing the information they needed. So since we're talking about the annual report, I will click on the annual report. Since I have administrative rights, I have every district, but I'm going to pull up a district that I'm going to use as our example for me to walk through. And so once you get in here, you'll have every year of the annual report. So if you're new and you want to see what's been done the prior years, you can click on any prior year to see what your district has submitted in their annual report back through 10/11. And this is available on every part of the LCP system. Some go back farther than 10/11 just based on when that part of the system was updated. So when you come in here, you'll have your district information that you'll want to go in and check. And so it's, the name of the LCP contact, their title, and just general information. If that person has changed or any contact has changed, you need to change that information, and then you can click save. And that's very important because we send out reminders from this system. So if the email address is not updated, this will not be going to the correct person. So we really need to make sure that our districts are keeping this section updated. So for the annual report, there's 3 sections: Title I, Title III, and State at Risk. All districts receive Title I and State at Risk dollars. So every district must fill out those 2 sections. And then Title III will be for districts that receive Title III funds. So we'll start with Title I. There's 2 sections on the Title I page, but there's some really important information I have to provide for this first one. The data you input on all parts of the LCP system talk with other pieces in our agency. And this is one that talks with our kids system and our LCP application. On your LCP application, you have to mark for each building either their school-wide, targeted assistance, or not served. If they're not served, you don't have to worry about anything on this page. If they're school-wide, you do not have to fill out the top part. And how we have it set up, you're not able to fill out the top part. If you have at least one building that is a targeted assistance school, you have to wait to fill out the top part of this page until you do your end of year accountability through the kids system, because data from that is pulled into this page. And the data that's pulled in is this number up here. And I'm using a very small district, and so that's why that number is small. But at the end of EOYA, if you've marked in the LCP application that you're a targeted assistance school, you also have to mark in the kids system which kids are receiving services. So in this district example, they had 4 kids identified as receiving title services, which, like I said below, that's an awful small amount of students, but this is a very small district. And so once you have that number in here, based on the kids' final data, you can enter the information in this next section. So they have 2 students that received reading and language arts services through the Title I program, and 2 that received math, for a total of 4 students. Now, what we need to point out here is they could have had 4 students receive reading and language arts, 4 receive math, 4 receive science. They could have up to 4 in any of these categories, because sometimes we know our Title I students receive more than one specialized service here. But they could, anytime you have a number up here, that's the max number that can be put in one of these. So this is just breaking them out by different areas that Title I programs may support. And again, the key is this chart cannot be done until the district has finalized their kids' EOYA. So for those districts, it's going to be probably late June at the earliest, but most likely in July. So since we have staff turnover, a lot of times the end of June, 1st of July, we really encourage the people in place currently do get everything else prepared on this page, the Title III page, and the state at risk before leaving, to make it easier on the incoming LCP person taking over that position. So the second piece of this page where we collect data is required for all districts that receive Title I funding, whether it's school-wide or targeted assistance. And what you'll see here, Title I TAS refers to targeted assistance. School-wide is SWP. But one of the big things we point out is you need to answer number 1 for the type of buildings you have, number 2 for the type of building, and then numbers 3, 4, and 5. You should only count a paraprofessional once, and that's very important. So this district, being as small and getting as little funding as they do, did not have any paraprofessionals. But if they would have had, say, 7 in this, they're not a school-wide, but if they'd be a school-wide, they'd put 7 on number 1 under school-wide, and then numbers 3, 4, and 5 would need to equal 7, because all paraprofessionals providing instructional services need to be highly qualified. So of those 7, if you'd have 3 that qualify based on 48 hours of college credit, you'd put a 3 under school-wide next to number 3. Number 4, maybe you have 2 that have an associate's degree or higher. On number 5, the amount that passed one of the tests. We do know some paras may have 3 and 4, or may have 3 and 5, 4 and 5, or all 3. Please just count them once. And we know in school-wides, we get a lot of questions about who counts. And it's any paraprofessional, whether they're special ed, title, or whatever, and they perform instructional services. That's the key. If they're not providing students instructional services, they would not be counted in this group. For targeted assistant schools, you would only count those paraprofessionals paid with Title I funds. So for targeted assistant schools, it's only paras paid specifically with Title I funds. And for school-wide programs, it's any paraprofessional that is providing instructional services. Then once you fill, yes.
You want to address the SPED question of SPED paras?
Okay.
Where they fit into this mix?
And it's pretty much the same. If you have a special education para, if they're just there providing general help getting a student to and from class, they would not count. But if your special ed para is providing instructional services, they do count here. So they would have to follow the rules for school-wide programs and special ed programs. So, and on this too, if the district has any comments, they can write them here. If we have any comments, we can put them and ask questions back to you. So if you get an annual report returned, we always refer you to the comments section. You can read the comments, and I'll show you another place you can find the comments. But one of the keys we always remind people on all of these is once you've entered data, press save. Because if you don't press save, you'll lose the data. Are there any other questions on this page, Doug, that you'd like me to answer?
I think you've been hitting most of them that are coming in. We're just reinforcing what you've said, basically.
Okay, super. And again, if you're working on this and have questions, feel free to reach out to us. Just a couple of the reminders, they're really important. We need to have anybody being paid in target assisted schools as a para has to be highly qualified, and all of our instructional paraprofessionals. We also have a really good paraprofessional web page on our KSD website. So if you go to ksd.org and go to subject under P, click P and go to paraprofessionals, we've got a lot more information detailed on that page that can be helpful. Okay, the next section is Title III. And like I said before, on Title III, we have many districts that do not receive these funds. And if you do not receive funds, when you click on Title III, it will look very much like this. It'll say in red, no Title III funds available, no entry required. So districts that don't receive Title III can't even enter any information into this page. But those districts that do receive Title III funds will need to come in here and answer questions in the 3 sections. And the first question, which is just looking for a numerical answer, is the number of teachers who receive professional development that were paid with Title III funds. And that includes any teacher in the district who participated in that training that was specific to the educational needs of English learners. So the key is it can be any teacher that received it, but it needed to be PD provided with Title III funds. Many of our districts do use Title III for professional development. We have some that don't. So if you're one of those that does not use your Title III for PD, you would be entering 0. The other districts would enter how many teachers received that PD or any type of PD provided by Title III. And so the second section is about professional development activities that were funded. So we just want you to check any of the boxes that explain the type of professional development that was provided, whether it had to do with alignment of curriculum, for language instruction programs, instructional strategies, subject matter knowledge, understanding and implementation of the assessments, understanding implementation of the standards and academic contents. And then we also have that other. So if you provided PD with Title III that doesn't fit one of these other 5 categories, you'd mark other and explain what that professional development was for. And in the last section, you'll divide up the amount of people that got PD into these different categories. So these will be all numerical answers. Of those people that received PD, how many were administrators other than principals? How many were from community-based organizations? How many were classroom teachers? How many were LEP classroom teachers? PD that was provided to other school personnel that were non-administrative, and then PD to principals. If you have one of those categories that nobody falls into, you would need to put a 0 in that category. And so we would expect to see a number in all 6 of these if we had a number in the first question at the top. And then again, like every page, you'd want to make sure to click save before you leave this page. You can put you can put your comments in if you need to add other comments in that box below. Then I'm going to scroll back up here because I want to point out a couple other things about our entire LCP system. On every page, what you'll find are 2 help pages. The top help page, which is in your top right, says annual report help. You click on that, that goes to a general page of help information for the entire annual report. But slightly below that, you'll see Title III help. If you click on that one, that goes to help for this specific pages. So it gives some explanation. We also have reference books that have all the help pages available online as well. So you can look up under LCP on the KSD website, and you can go to a page that just has all the information on the LCP system and all the reference guides that come along with the different programs.